So here's a quick update on my Back to the Future 2 Marty McFly jacket. This is a large, of course, that I'm making, and this is the medium that I made for myself. I do everything to the medium first, that way I don't mess up on the large. So I've attached everything I need to attach, lacking a few minor pieces on the medium. I've already attached the button pieces and restitched it. So for the medium, what I noticed is that these bellow pieces aren't as starched as the large is. So what I did is I actually stitched each bellow piece together. And what I'm going to do is take this strap and lay it over the top and stitch that to the top, because I'm not too worried about the top bellow pieces. I'm not going to care about the effect. But for the bottom bellow pieces, of course, I am going to have those work. Of course, I've already completed this one and they do work, but I actually, for these, they were a little bit too long and they bulked out. So what I did is I cut it right here, and I took the Velcro piece and restitched it on so it would be completely all the way across the Velcro from before, which shortened it up and made it look a little bit more movie accurate. So for the medium, mine looks really decent, but for the large, so like I said, that these are a lot more starch. As you can see, I could just fold it in and it stays in. So that's really decent. And I've already put the button pieces on. Like I said, they kind of stick out just a little bit on mine, but this is a medium mannequin, so maybe for the large it'll come down just a little bit and that'll look decent. But other than that, everything works on the large, so I can have it come down. And for the top bellow pieces, I didn't want to short anybody out of movie realistic, so what I did is I went ahead and stitched a piece of Velcro on the top. That way, if they do want it to come down, it will. Of course, I wanted that for mine, but at the same time, mine didn't look the way this did. I'm not sure if it's just for the mediums or if it was just for that one jacket that I bought. But see how much that stays already? That's pretty starched. And so basically what you do is you can take this and attach it to the top and you have your piece. So everything looks pretty decent. For the belt piece, like I said, I was going to do for this, puncture little holes and stitch it across, which I did, and the cuffs came out really well, so I went ahead and did it for this. And you can barely see the stitching, but if you kind of zoom in, you can see the stitching. And what I did for the stitching is I measured the belt piece that I wanted and I stitched it right in front, and then I went ahead and stitched it right in the center of the back, and from there I stitched it about 3 to 4 times on the side. And once I got those stitches in, I took one continuous thread and I went all the way across in the front, and then from here to the back, and then vice versa on the other side. And if you look on the inside, you can see that continuous stitch that goes all the way across. Of course, the bottom of mine doesn't look as that decent, but I'm not too worried. I kind of just super glued it to the plastic piece. So for the large, I did the same thing. Of course, like before, I said I was going to fold it under and stitch it, which I did. This looks a lot better. I put that red stitch all the way across, so I already have my length measured before I put the belt piece on and stitched it, and it looks really decent. All the way across the back, as you can see. So I really like the way the large came out. I kind of wish I wore a large just so I could have the large. But anyway, so for these little clips that I had, I know the video I saw before, he used styrene, which I was going to use, and I was also going to use the corrugated steel, but I decided not to. So I bought these little clamps that I was going to use for the shoe when I solder the wires, and also just to have in my garage. And it came with a little hanger. It came about this long, and I've already cut several sections of it off, and from there I cut pieces of it off and bent them, and they came out pretty nice. So I really like the way they looked, and basically all I'm going to do is stick it on the fabric and glue it. Although with this piece of plastic, the super glue did not want to stick to it. So what I had to do is I took my Dremel and I put little scores all along the side of the pieces, and I roughed it up pretty good. And what I did was I just put super glue all on the inside, let it dry, and then once I let it dry, I tested it on a piece of fabric and it stuck really well. So I just glued it on. Of course, it looks pretty decent. So for the buckle pieces, what I was going to do with mine is, since the belt was contour, I wanted my buckle pieces to be contour, and it looks really nice that way. But for the jacket I was selling, I did not want them to be contour. I wanted them to be straight, although I couldn't figure out a way to put them straight. Maybe I didn't try hard enough, but I did try to think of a bunch of different methods. So what I am going to do is just go ahead and contour them. Maybe not as much as mine, but just enough to get them to stick. I have them in clamps right now attached to the same corrugated steel as the belt, just to give them the contour that they need, so when I do attach them they will stick each side. And for the button pieces, like I said, just attach the button pieces. Now if you just attach the button pieces to the side, the circle is a little bit too big that you'll be able to see the red sticking through. If you do just want to super glue them on the side. So what I did is I cut all the stitching off, and I took these circles and I just cut them into a square. So I cut 4 sides off of them, and then I stitched them back on. And when I stitched them back on, I then again applied super glue to the red parts, and you cannot see any of the red coming out of the button pieces, so it looks a lot better that way. So anyway, that's the update on the jacket. Now of course I know in the movie he's got a little black piece that comes across where the pocket comes in and out, but I'm not too worried about that. These pockets work. I've done all the fixings to them. Anybody who buys this, if they want that black piece, they can install it themselves. Other than that, this jacket came out really decent, and I'm very happy. So 2015, Back to the Future. Thanks.